Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, we'll be talking about Adam Peters and the great moves he has made this offseason and even this season as well, and how he absolutely fleeced the Eagles and a lot of other NFL teams this offseason. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Less than 40% of you guys have subscribed. It's free, it takes 1 second, it really does help out the channel a ton. And hit that like button, notification bell as well, that also helps. But I've made a video similar to this a couple times, just talking about the Jahan Dotson trade, revisiting that, and it just keeps getting better and better and better for the Washington Commanders. So the Washington Commanders traded Jahan Dotson and a 5th round pick for a 3rd round pick and 2 7th round picks. And one of the third round pick was the Miami Dolphins pick, which they keep losing. I mean, they've won a couple games, but that pick is going to be better than the Commanders probably thought it was going to be. And even with Tua coming back, they're not going to be that good. You look at some of the other moves, and it just keeps getting better and better for the Commanders, because the Jets traded a 3rd round pick for Devontae Adams. The Bills traded a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick for Amari Cooper. And then just now, the Chiefs traded a 5th round pick that can become a 4th round pick for one of the better receivers in this generation, DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously not the same player he was, but still a very good player. And guess what? Commanders got basically, the 5th round pick and the 7th round, 2 7s kind of cancel out. It doesn't really matter. Maybe the 5th is probably a little bit more valuable, but maybe Adam Peters thinks the 2 7s are, because he gets 2 shots versus 1, 2 throws at the dart, 2 dart throws, whatever you want to call it. But you look at Jahan Dotson, 35 yards on the season. I just don't know. Like, obviously, I was not the biggest Jahan fan, when he came out. And then after, his first season, I was high on him, but I still had my doubts. And after last year, I was like, all right, he's not a 1 in this league anymore. Or I don't think he has a chance to be a 1 anymore. And this year, he's played every game. It's not like he's hurt or, the other receivers are just balling out. I mean, A.J. Brown's missed a few games. Devonta Smith has missed a game and a half. And even in those games that those guys missed, Jahan has done nothing. 6 games and 35 catches. So the Washington Commanders, not only did they get a good asset, a 3rd round pick, a high 3rd round pick more likely than not, out of Jahan Dotson, but they also kind of hurt their division rival, because they gave up a 3rd round pick. And at the time, I thought it was a solid move for the Eagles. And hey, it might still end up being a good move for the Eagles down the line. Maybe he ends up being getting better. He's new to the system and stuff like that. But still, though, 6 catches, 35 yards through 6 games. That's crazy. 35 yards. Look at Zacchaeus, who basically the Commanders got from the Eagles. They didn't trade him or anything, but the Eagles moved on from Zacchaeus, and he already has more yards than he had all of last year with the Eagles. Doesn't have any touchdowns, but in 7 games, he has 19 catches, which is 9 more than he had last year. 27 targets, already out targeted, and has 176 yards on the season, 9.3 yards per catch. Is the lowest of his career by a lot. I mean, last year he had 16 yards a catch. They're using him a little bit differently. They're using him more. They're using him that short yardage situation a lot more than he was used in the past. But he has 4.5 times more yards than Jahan does so far this season, and the Commanders didn't have to give up, and they just had to give up minimum salary or whatever they had to give up for Zacchaeus, so that was good. And you look at some other receivers on the team too. Noah Brown, they got him for very cheap. He hasn't been a stud, but he has, in his first game with the Commanders, had basically double the yards that Jahan Dotson has had with the Eagles. So I'll go ahead and put up his stats here. So he has 185 yards in 5 games. So he probably, lately he hasn't been doing a lot, but he's probably the 2nd leading receiver per game, I would say, for the Commanders. If obviously you have Terry as the number 1, and then you got Zacchaeus, who probably, Zacchaeus had 176. So, Noah Brown actually has more yards in him in 2 fewer games. because of injuries. And the first game, I don't know if it was the injury or is still getting acclimated to the system. But he's been pretty good. He's been making some big catches. Not only big catches, but he also has been, like the last 2 games, has drawn 2 big pass interference penalties. So shout out to Noah Brown. He's been a good addition to the team. And yeah, Zach Ertz. A lot of people were talking trash about, the Commanders just getting washed up players, and Eckler, Ertz, Wagner. Well, guess what? Wagner has been playing at a very high level. Ertz, he's not playing at a high level, but he's been a good tight end for us, and is going to help develop the guys behind him, and Ben Sennett, and then even John Bates a little bit as well. And then you got Eckler, who has been absolutely amazing. Austin Eckler has been a stud. I know he missed a game because of a concussion, but every time he gets the ball, it seems like he's just getting a first down almost every time. You look at, he has 188 yards receiving. He has 188 yards. 188 yards rushing, 6 yards a carry. That is the highest of his career. And he does have a rushing touchdown, has a 50-yard rush on the season. And then receiving-wise, he has 200 receiving yards. So averaging 12 yards a catch, the most in his career as well. So Cliff Kingsbury has been able to use Austin Eckler in a very, very good way and very, very efficient. So that was a good signing. Obviously, Zach Ertz also has been a good signing. I believe he is their second leading receiver. Zach Ertz, not going off, but he's, every game getting you 30-ish yards, something like that. Yeah, 268 yards in a year, had his first touchdown. So shout out to Zach Ertz. He has been a good addition. And then a guy like Frankie Louvu, absolute stud, 4 sacks as a linebacker. That's leading the NFL. Dante Fowler, 4.5 sacks. He has more sacks than Chase Young and Montez Sweat combined. Dorrance Armstrong has missed a game or 2, but he's been good as well. Jeremy Chin has been good. Like, so many of these free agents. Nick Allegretti, Tyler Biadasz. Like, I know I'm missing some guys. Austin Seibert, like, he has been an absolute stud. Absolute stud. I believe he's tied in the NFL with total points kicking, and he missed a game. So he has been very, very good for the Commanders, and that was a move they made late. That was in the season. They made that move week 2. So sorry about that, but that was a really good move. He's had maybe some misses that weren't amazing, maybe some draft picks that haven't worked out yet. But that's the big thing. Yet a 2nd round pick, 3rd round pick. These guys have time to develop. Johnny Newton hasn't done a lot, but let's see what he does. Let's see what Jordan McGee does, because he hasn't played yet. He's probably going to play this week against the Chicago Bears. So let's see what these guys do. But a lot of the guys have been hit so far, some of the draft picks and a lot of the free agent signings. So I'm excited to see what these guys continue to do. Yeah, there's been some misses, like you can say maybe Michael Davis, but who cares? Like, you saw what he did. He didn't do that well, and you benched him. You don't play him. That's fine. Nick Bellore was a good signing too, late in the offseason, right before the season started. He's been a good special teams player for them as well. But yeah, that's kind of it for today's video. Just want to go over, keep revisiting this trade every few weeks, and especially after more trades have been made and this trade continues to look better and better. Let me look up Tankathon NFL just to look at where that Miami Dolphins pick is. So right now it is around 10th. So it's a solid 3rd round pick, and it's probably going to stay around there. There's a lot of teams right here with 2 wins. So yeah, that'll definitely change a little bit whether they start winning or losing. But it's definitely a better pick than we thought, because you didn't think the Dolphins were going to be 2-4 at this point of the season, and their schedule isn't. Let's see. They play the Cardinals, Bills, I guess they have some easy games here, but they're definitely not winning more than 7 games, 8 games. So it's going to be at least an okay pick for them. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you stayed till the end, go ahead and comment down below Austin Seibert. Peace.